May I have a raise of hands? How many of you think that work is getting to be a big challenge in having a family, thinking of having a family, or maintaining a family? Okay, I don't know whether I'll be happy with that. So I'm going to talk to you about the bottom line impact of work-family balance, because you are HR people, and as HR, you have to have that strategic mindset. We have to converse with the top people and really push for programs that can make employees really more productive. And many, depending on your demographics, there are many employees who have families. So back in 2000, there was a book that came out, Work and Family, Allies or Enemies. And you can say, wow, that was year 2000, 18 years ago. Is that still relevant? And probably that was 2 weeks ago when I watched The Greatest Showman. And if you recall, the last part there was Barnum doing the last show, final show, and then he went out of the stage and talked to Carlisle, handed him the hat, and said, it's your turn. I have to give time to my 2 daughters. Wasn't that charming of him? I thought, really, this makes the topic very relevant. How a writer of an 1800 character, Mr. Barnum, really captured that essence of very creative entrepreneur, stopping the business in order to give time to the family. So the thing is, family and work both require time. People think that time is the culprit. We don't have all the time. Actually, it's a democratizing factor that all of us has 24 hours. Regardless of age, sex, gender, all of us, we all have 24 hours. So the thing is, time, they say, is not really the problem. It's the impact of work on the family and family on work. Like somehow there are no more boundaries. You're like working 24/7. I have a friend who told me that she's very happy her son graduated and immediately was offered 70,000 monthly salary. So I said, there must be something to it. I said, what is the work hours? 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. Okay, I said, you can compute that. How much really is that equivalent to a 40-hour work week? So really, I think the work hours is really not so hospitable to family demands, family time. And work-family conflict, sometimes they call it work-family imbalance, has real consequences, especially for executives like you, who sometimes you have to travel, and sometimes the work really gets to be giving a lot of pressure. Yeah? And the conflict really is felt by the children. I know it. I think I have to tell you that the reason why I went to work-family balance is I'm a university professor, and I see the students when they come into class, and I sometimes wonder whether their own parents saw them leave the house. If they would look much better if their parents actually saw them and just said hi, or I thought it would really make a difference. So I decided it's already time to talk to the parents. So I went into work-family advocacy. So if both parents work full-time, then who minds the children? Who minds the home? Another reason why I went to work-family balance is I started having research on glass ceiling. I was interviewing top CEOs, vice presidents, women presidents. And I was like going to write about women empowerment. But out of the 20 top-level women that I interviewed, it always appears that they have that guilt feeling. They are admired by everyone, but their house is dirty, the menu is the same, the husband would like to marry another woman who knows how to cook, who knows how to plan the menu. So in the end, my first book was Work-Life Balance. So you can see the question, the topic of work-family balance is really relevant. So who minds the children? The CEO of a utility firm told me it's not a problem, Avic, in the Philippines because there are housemates. Well, I don't know about your experience. Do you see the huge turnover of housemates? It's quite difficult these days to get a housemaid, right? So who minds the children. In the US, they call it latchkey kids, the phenomenon of latchkey kids. They have like a necklace. They have the key of their house. They just enter and leave the house with a key, no? So that is a big concern in other countries. But you cannot say that this is just a women's issue and the women and the men. I have other concerns. According to some studies, men are also concerned with work-family balance, although they don't show it the same way as women. I remember asking a friend, I said, do you see men calling their house at 4 p.m. to find out if the kids are home? And he said, no, but I think one day I heard my male boss asking the children, how are you? And I thought in my mind, where's the wife? So you see, the men have different set of expectations, yeah, social expectations, but still, it's a concern also for men. It seems that more and more men are more like concerned to see their children. A headhunter told me that things are changing because he offered a president's position to a guy, and the guy said, well, it depends, as long as I can go to work at 10 o'clock because I want to bring my children to school. And he said, wow, that's something, that's a big change. So the more common dominant perspective is that family conflicts with work. That's really, there are so many writings about work-family conflicts or work-family imbalance. It's like really work is 24/7, gives you burnout, stress, no? And it can lower your productivity. But then, the nice thing is that there are many people studying the expansionist approach. Like, your heart expands, you can work more because you love your family. Yeah? And what are the advantages of family-enriching work? The first is, they say, participating in multiple roles can bring greater well-being. I don't know about you, but even if I know of someone, after a whole day's hard work, he's looking forward to going back to the family and said, siguro I'll lose my mind if I don't have a family. Yeah, so it's like there are some roles that buffer you from all the other stresses of the other roles. And then, according to studies, having both work and family roles can buffer you from distress in any one of these roles. Okay, so it's good that you can disconnect and focus on other things in life. And then studies also show that positive experiences are transferred from home to work and work to home. So with this study, I remembered also a CEO telling me, I just came from a branch managed by a woman. And he was so delighted with the way the office was designed. And I thought to myself, you know, companies are benefiting from the management skills of women in the family that are transferred to the workplace. And that is something for free, right? Yeah, management skills that you are nurturing, no, in the home, menu management, house staff management, these are things that you can transfer to the workplace. So, about 5 years ago, we decided in the Philippines to launch corporate family responsibility, which is the nuclear essential dimension of the CSR. So, before taking care of the community of the company, why don't you take care of the families of your employees? And they will be grateful for that because, and that gratitude will transfer into greater motivation, higher productivity, yeah, and greater initiative. Okay, so we realize that according to studies, really it's true. A happy family person is a productive employee. Do you agree? And a problematic family person can really bring also those problems and those attitudes of facing problems in the workplace. So it is a negative consequence to the workplace. So we don't just monitor policies, we also monitor supervisory support and culture. So the policies, you might already know, flexible time, compressed work week, subsidies for fitness, subsidies for childcare. But the thing is, many times companies have policies, but we realize in our study that employees do not avail of them. Why? Because there is a culture that if you are so much into the family, you might not be considered for promotion. You might have known women. I know of one particular case. This is funny because So my friend could really be promoted as Asia HR VP, no? So she did not know, she only got to know afterwards, after being promoted, that the president asked one of her male colleagues, do you think that, let's say the name, do you think that Annie is going to marry soon? So that question alone brought her friend to realize, probably she's being considered for promotion. So her male colleague said, you know, Annie is a man-hater. She doesn't like to get married at all. But the truth is, she had a boyfriend that time. So she got promoted from the Philippines, she went to Asia, she was in Singapore, and after 15 years, she has already financed the education of 20 nieces and nephews, and now she's getting married. So after those many years, no? So there. And also, we monitor supervisory support. And support can come in terms of being able to listen, no? And telling the employee, oh, we have the policy that's suited for you. So it's like informational support, emotional support, okay? So we monitor all this. And we use a tool, a diagnostic tool called the EFRA, the YESE Family Responsible Employer Index. YESE Business School is the #1 in the world in terms of world of executive education. So it's the 4th year in a row, no? It's monitored by Financial Times. Okay, so that's the YESE Family Responsible Employer Index. And we try to monitor the transition of companies from being polluted workplaces to enriching workplaces. What do we mean by polluted workplaces? No, it's something to think that we are so concerned about the environment, no? There's sustainability, so concerned about this, but we are not so concerned about the moral ecology. How many families are like broken families, children who are wayward because parents do not have time for them. So that's pollution in the moral ecology. So we are trying to see the transition. Can I do this? No, the transition from D to A. And the A is the best workplace where you can integrate your work and family life. So the results of our study, it shows that 13% of around, it's more than 5,000 companies, they're polluted workplaces, and only 15% are enriching. So there's really a long way to go. Yeah, an example of a polluted workplace, really the extreme case that I would always say I would always narrate in my seminars, is this Filipino company managed by a non-Filipino. That boss heard that the secretary is pregnant. He did not like the idea. So he approached the secretary. This is according to my friend who's the accountant who overheard the conversation. The boss said to the secretary, I cannot give you a maternity leave again. You're very expensive. Yeah. You better abort that baby. Super polluted, right? You cannot even make your own personal decision. So in the end, the secretary resigned, the accountant who overheard it resigned. I don't know anymore what happened to the company. So super polluted, no? So enriching is the place where you can be a family person. It's not going to be, your career will not be penalized. So these are the impact that we have, we are monitoring. In polluted workplaces, half of the people plan to resign. 1/4 only feel company support. And that is very expensive because if you have the policies and the programs, but only 1/4 would really avail of these policies, that's an expensive way to run the business. And then 83% have poor quality of life. They cannot sleep, they cannot even do exercise, and only half of the people express good health. Whereas in enriching workplaces, 78% express that they have good health, 88% feel company support, so all the programs are working, all the HR programs are working, the supervisors are really enthused and are really very encouraging bosses, and then 54% perceive high quality of life. Okay? And this, I think, is the biggest factor for the bottom line. According to our research, in enriching workplaces, people are 19% more productive than workplaces that are polluted or unfavorable. Okay? And for some parents in the audience, this is some data for you. According to our research, employees in enriching environment have 37% more time to read to their kids, 32% more time to play with them, 21% more time to have dinner with them. Okay, so I think that's a very good sign that having enriching environments is a good factor for family life. Okay, so, well, this is something that we are monitoring. It seems that more people avail of flexible work rather than telecommuting. And according to our interviews, it seems that really in the Philippine setting, there's a culture of FaceTime. They don't want you working away from the workplace because they might not know you're not, they cannot see you. Yeah, so hopefully, we can have more and more people doing telecommuting, but it's a change in culture. These are the companies that have participated in our study, and their responses were very helpful for our research and advocacy. And IFRE is being done in 25 countries. I'm the only one in Asia. And our advocacy is being helped by Work Family Foundation Canada that gives accreditation, and they have this logo that's like a sort of branding. It's not yet so fully operational in the Philippines. I really have to spend time to talk to companies, but I am happy to tell you that our University of Asia and the Pacific is the first and only company accredited in Asia and in the Philippines. Yeah, of course, I'm happy because I cannot go out and do advocacy when my own company is workaholic. So it's very good that we passed the test. Okay, and this is something that I think is very helpful to realize. We can start with really seminars, education, in family life, in combining work and family, in integrating work and family, because now it says that only 34% benefit from seminars on work-family balance. I've been giving seminars, and you can really imagine so many people realize many things just with listening. Like I know a state president telling me, my children told me, Dad, we're always there whenever you are like proclaimed or inaugurated as a president, but you're not there for our events. Yeah, so it's something. It's really, I think, it's the seminars will really be useful. And just yesterday, I received a workbook on work-family balance, still in Spanish, because it came from YESE. And I'm really encouraging people, if you want to go into seminars, or in your company, you want to be the one to do work-family balance, I can do Train the Trainer seminar, because there's so much work to do. We have to reach out right away to really improve the environment. And aside from simple work-family balance, I think we have also to talk about conjugal life, sharing responsibilities. Okay? So with that, I think this short talk has expanded your view that work-family balance is good for the companies. And most of all, it's good for families and for your future workforce if they really come from balanced families. Thank you very much.